Hello everyone. Today we're looking at a game that was played at the end of 2019 at the South African Closed Chess Championships Open. And this game is played between two strong South African FMs, Matpon and Mohamed Bhawoodien. And okay, this is a monster of a game, and it's actually quite funny, I should say so, because as far as you could see, it's a very quiet game. They call it the Juku Piano, the small quiet game. And after the move h3, and Mohamed goes into a 20-minute think, and he plays the move f5. And obviously, thinking for so long, you're probably thinking this is what your opponent's thinking about. So Matpon instantly plays h takes, and he takes the knight, which is actually a pretty big mistake. Mohamed had actually played theory by going f5, and maybe it was his intuition that said, okay, maybe I should check out this move. But f5, great move, and it has been played by Hikaru Nakamura recently. You're not supposed to really take this knight, we'll get into that in a second. For instance, in Hikaru's game, after f takes and knight takes, there was simply a trade here with Hikaru going d5. And the point being that, okay, you have a rook for two minor pieces, but you've got an excellent center and play on the f-file and exposed king, and you're getting back that f5 pawn. So other ways that maybe after e takes f5 that the position could have continued was knight h6, bishop e6, and okay, this is a bit of a more quiet way the position could have gone forward, but white's is a bit awkward, and black's getting back that e6 pawn. Instead in the game, we have a novelty. We have h takes g4. No one has been brave enough to take that knight. And f takes g4, hitting that knight back to h4, and now queen h4. If this had really been prep, the move g3 would have been seen, and this is a pretty hurtful move. I'm not going to go too deep into it. Queen h4, though, still a pretty good move for the position, keeping that tension there on the king side. And now queen e1 would have been a great defensive resource. But black can try and win back some material on that f2 square. So instead of going queen e1, Matpon goes d4, just shutting down communication of this bishop. And we have the move e takes d4, opening up this bishop's communication. Matpon himself plays g3, making sure black doesn't get that move in. And queen h3, looking to maybe play the maneuver of the knight to f3, capture with the pawn on f3, and have some tension on this g2 square with checkmate. Oh, maybe. So knight df1, gambiting this pawn in the center, and pretty much saying that you need this knight to defend the other one, because a rook left like this. Okay, the bishop is also stopping that now. That's also part of the idea. But a rook left like this could still happen any day, and this is probably the main problem in white's position, is the attack on the king's side. So. And now Mohamed had a very good move that he could have played. He could have gone d3. The issue with d3 is it comes with tempo compared to the move that he played in the game. d3, and how do you recapture? Recapturing with the queen walks into the knight e5. Recapturing with the bishop also walks into knight e5. Let's quickly look at how this is a bit different than capturing on c3. The issue is that Matt just gives away the pawn. And knowing that he's already up a minor piece, he can give away a few pawns just to get some play in the game. And now knight e5, which was played, is a bit slower. You don't need to even recapture here. And now you've got the insertion of this bishop on e3. And the difference it makes is now after knight e5, you can actually take on h7. If black captures your bishop, now it's simply your own bishop retreats. So black needs this knight for the attack. Knight f3, check, king h1, and now only rook takes a7. And okay, the rook guards this pawn, so you don't need to really defend that. The rook is also pretty happy on this second rank. So Matt just goes e5. He should have maybe tried rook c2 or things like this just to get rid of this knight, but we'll get into a more crucial moment when this was really necessary. We have d takes. Also, part of Matt's idea is just to get this d file open, and now only b takes c3. Rook a8, re-maneuvering this rook to the 8th rank, where it's very necessary if you're going to start a rook left and maybe bring this bishop into the game. Also remember now this bishop is off the board, so rook h6 is a pretty big threat. Queen d5 by Matt, and he's trying to play in the center and show that his queen is more active than black's, but actually black has got a pretty decent position here. Matt should have gone rook e3 yet again if you wanted to play for a real advantage. The point being that, okay, try and see how black should develop here, and it's not too clear. Bishop f5 seems like the best move, but now this rook trades and even queen captures with ideas of going queen g2 and going for this endgame where you seem to be very comfortable could happen. Or if not, bishop f5, knowing that the queen will end up on this f3 square, something like rook b8. But we can still just see a trade. And now knight e3, covering this g2 square. And okay, maybe you're getting back to the f3 pawn. You can try and get rid of the queen now as well and play with the minor pieces you have. Get this piece free one day somehow. But okay, queen d5, a bit of a inaccuracy or mistake. Bishop f5, rook d1. You can't challenge the queen on the d file because this will just lead to a back rank. And now c6, kicking the queen away. Queen d6, rook a e8. And now Matt actually blunders with bishop d3. He gives up this very important diagonal. And if Mohamed wanted to, he could have actually gone for bishop e6. And the issue is why this diagonal is so important is that black can make use of these diagonals via that diagonal. And all of these diagonals actually hurt. White isn't keeping him off of the d5 square. Let's say, for instance, bishop e4. Now black can still start with bishop c4. And this is an annoying skewer. You need to stop that with bishop d3. But now black gets bishop d5 with tempo. He's getting this diagonal. And now you're playing bishop e4. The issues with getting this position for black is that he can go, for white, is that black can go knight takes h2. And there's actually no stopping the slaughter now. If you go bishop takes d5, then this is mate in 2, so you can't do that. If you go, if you capture the knight, then simply bishop takes, and rook takes f2, playing on the second rank. There's no back ranks for black to worry about, and it's going to be game over. But instead in the game, after bishop d3, giving up this important diagonal, Mohamed plays with a concrete idea in mind for the h-file. He goes rook f6, and he wants to play on the h-file. The big issue is that this is what Matt was hoping for. He had this in mind, just bishop takes f5, realizing that he's getting a bishop and a rook, or he's just trading down pieces and getting to an endgame quicker. You can ask yourself which is better, capturing the queen or the bishop. Okay, so if you'd gone for the queen, you did what Mohamed did, and it's not the best option because now we'll see in the game it didn't end up too well for him. If you'd gone for the bishop, you actually might still have had play, and all these arrows just describe some positional themes. For instance, that the rook on e2 can't ever leave the second rank because f2 will be weak, and the rook is coming to h5. You can even try rook g8 as black. It's actually really just black that can be playing for anything. He's really not down a piece in this position. It's pretty equal, I'd say, but I think black might even have some hope in this position, down a piece, which is crazy. Instead in the game, we've got rook takes d6, going after the queen, and now simply white has got a bishop and a rook for that queen exchange, and he's already up a minor piece, meaning that he's got a rook, a knight, and a bishop for a queen, and a queen which is poorly placed. h5 is played, trying to pry open the position on the king side, and now just rook e3. And rook e3 is pretty good because you can't enter the d file yet because the knight is guarding that square. And also this comes with tempo because you're threatening to take the knight, and you can't recapture because then the queen will be hanging on h3. So e4 is played just to defend the knight temporarily, and it forces this rook to e4. You can't recapture the rook because of the back rank, and now just simply rook f8, trying not to get mated. We have bishop g6, keeping the back rank ideas alive, and there's always this theme of this queen being very weak, so white starts playing very calmly. There's also no approaching this position. I mean, rook takes f2 is never a threat because of all the back ranks now. So we have king g8, and now rook e7. Now Matt starts playing for the 7th, and it's in this position that Mohamed only has, I think, 2 minutes left on the clock. He goes h4, trying to pry open the position. Matt's still got a decent amount of time, and now just to move rook d7. And okay, you need to defend the king side somehow. If you allow something like h takes, Matt is just simply playing very comfortably. You need to go queen takes, and we reach like a similar position to the game, but where, okay, I don't know if knight takes is correct. Probably just f takes is easy, but this would be an easy win, playing down 2 minor pieces because of the exchange. So you can't allow this. You can't go h takes, and Okay, so Mohamed, he goes knight g5 instantly. Instead, he should have gone king h8. There's a small difference. We'll get to that now. Um, it will lead to the same thing that happened in the game, though. After rook takes and knight g5, it changes things a bit. Maybe after knight g5, ask yourself how you'd play this as white, was there's a winning continuation. Okay, if you'd found it well done, the continuation is starts with bishop e4 right at this point, and pretty much saying that you're going bishop g2 after this queen, and the knight can't recapture because of checkmate. And there's also another interesting point of bishop e4. Let's say, for instance, rook captures. The queen is still getting trapped after this check and trades and, sorry, king takes and then bishop g2. Just a phenomenal line to have spotted, but okay, it wasn't spotted in the game. In the game, this bishop move didn't happen. We just have rook takes g7 and now king h8, which would have been similar and to have going king h8 immediately, but not allowing this maneuver. So now we have rook h7 check, and mat pawn finds a way to go into the endgame. And I remember watching this, and the endgame was also pretty crazy. But after going through it again now, excuse me, I realized that it was actually pretty tricky to play for white, even though white had a lot of time. And this is just a sneaky maneuver. Both of them have just reached time control as well. This is move 40, you conquer, rook takes f5 because of that check on h6, so rook f3, king g2. Now rook takes c3, and okay, mat finally gets this pawn rolling. h5, rook c5, bishop e4, and now black starts rolling a pawn, h6, a4, and this is maybe the point where mat pawn shouldn't have gone h7, which feels funny because, okay, it feels like you're just playing knight h6 and knight's getting there and then you're winning, but it's not so simple. The best way to have played would be to go knight d7, and no matter where this rook goes, remember there's no check as well. Your point is then to, okay, let's say rook g5, you can go knight e5 again, and your point is knight f7 check now, forcing this king away, and then h7 and making a queen while this knight defends. And actually there's not much black can do here. If he tries running this pawn through, even bishop g6 works now after a2, this check, and okay, you're making a queen. Your queen is also guarding this diagonal, so you're fine. But in the game, h7, and actually it became a draw now after all the craziness of what happened. Rook g5 check. And there's one point where the computer feels that mat could have played on, but I investigated it pretty deeply, and it's at this point where after rook c8, mat went king d2. You can go knight f7 check, and this is the more superficial idea that black has now. He wants you to make a queen, and okay, after making a queen, he's going to recapture the bishop, the knight, and the bishop on a2 isn't going to help get this knight to escape because he needs to guard these pawns. So this is the more superficial idea of the knight of going rook c8. But there's a stronger attack maybe for white, but this is just insaneness. After king g7, you need to go knight d6, hitting that rook. You can't go king takes f6 because then white gets that rook and he's playing with a knight and bishop. He's getting these pawns and he's gonna get the win probably. Mat pawn has got that technique. I know some other South Africans don't. So strong players that don't. But okay, so and this line is tricky because now you need to go rook b8, and this check gives up the h pawn. But now the move knight c7, and pretty much white picks up these 3 pawns, but he's playing with a bishop and 2 knights against a rook. And I don't know if there's a lot of theory, but it's incredibly tricky to win because the rook can just sack itself for the bishop and it will be a draw. So pushing forward is even tricky. The computers couldn't do it just now. So they say there's an advantage, but really there was nothing to be said already in this position. So instead in the game, just king d2, king g7, and a few more moves. And they traded down with Mohamed playing the classic rook h2, showing us that 2 knights don't win an endgame. This was just a great game. Showed us how time control is actually a big theme in South African classical chess. So yeah, don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you don't want to lose on time control. And then I'll see you guys soon for more South African chess games. Thank you for watching.